Happy Aloha Friday and welcome to my Tais at Sunset.
Yes, happy Aloha Friday. Let's set an intention to have a really fun time today because it is Hinamatsuri Day in Hawaii.
Okay.
Or it's about to be. We're celebrating already.
Can you say that a little bit slower for some of our listeners who don't know what that sounds like or is?
Hinamatsuri. Hina means doll. Matsuri means celebration. And so in Hawaii, because of all of our cultures that have mixed here, some of my parentage is Japanese on my mom's side. And the Japanese have Hinamatsuri Day. And they also have Boys' Day, but we'll talk about that one in another one. But Hinamatsuri is more commonly referred to as Girls' Day. And so it's a really wonderful holiday that we celebrate in Hawaii. Japan actually phased it out, and they combined Girls' and Boys' Day. They called it Children's Day, which happens in May. Probably to be more understanding of new terminology that people identify as.
Okay.
Which is fine. But in Hawaii, we still celebrate Girls' Day. And it's kind of a really nice thing. At school, when you're growing up, the boys do nice things for the girls. Like they pull out their chairs and they learn a little bit of courtesies.
Called Southern hospitality.
Very nice. But in adult career job type situations, a lot of male coworkers will treat their female coworkers to lunch.
Okay.
Which is really nice. It's all reciprocated on Boys' Day, which is in May. You traditionally eat mochi. It's 3 colors, pink, white, and green. Pink signifies sweet blossoms. White, purity, and green, growth.
Okay.
And little girls often do origami, paper dolls. And they're also given to girls as gifts. But it's just really celebrating, little girls, to embrace whatever they can possibly dream up for their future and give them that kind of support to, what, your whole life is ahead of you. Dream big, But then as we get older, we still celebrate. We celebrate all the ladies, moms and aunties and grandmas. We all have our inner girl forever. And we celebrate and we reflect to see, did we live the dreams that we were hoping when we were little girls? You reflect on your whole life and then you kind of try to pass that on to the next generations.
So you do that for once a year. You reflect on your entire life and hope and pray that you did exactly what you wanted to do or you achieve.
You celebrate your life. Yeah, absolutely. Celebrate all the women in your life. Just being grateful for all the women in your life. And just it's a good reason to just celebrate the ladies. The men have their own day.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of nice to take a step back and be able to celebrate each other just for the kind of, just for who we are, the way we are. I think I like that in Japan that they have kind of combined it so that everyone feels included, just in case you don't identify as a boy or a girl. But it's really cute. I think a lot of people don't know about different traditions that Hawaii has or special celebrations in other cultures. But Hawaii is the original Asian melting pot. So, people hearing this were probably like, okay, so there are a lot of different celebrations that have been incorporated into actual official holidays. I remember when I was living there, I had extra vacation time because there were extra days. And I was like, this is fantastic. Who doesn't like extra vacation days, especially when they're not used to them? So, Yeah. So what else do you
To
guys
learn something new.
Yeah, what else do you guys do? I mean, like eating mochi. I've always wondered why mochi like comes in certain colors. So now that I understand that, and thank you for that explanation, it's kind of fun. I think Bubby's is the best mochi that I've had on the island, but I only like their green tea
Mochi ice cream. Oh my God. I think they were one of the first people to make mochi ice cream in Hawaii.
They're not
really
cheap
nice.
though. They're not cheap. Like a little box of 9 of them was like $20 or something. It was crazy. It was outrageous.
Ooh, it's calmed down today. I ran to Foodland this morning. It was $6.50 on sale.
You know what? I felt like I got gypped because I was like fundraising for someone's like charity or whatever.
I remember.
Yeah.
We did that as
For
a fundraiser.
Tori.
I don't think I picked up my mochi ice cream.
What, you bought it and you never picked it
shoot.
up? Oh, man.
I don't think I did.
You were
I think
missing
I
out?
forgot.
Wow.
That's all right. It's all right. Supports local business.
Support local business. I mean, there have been many a times that there are things that I can't get on the mainland that I can only get in Hawaii, especially on Oahu. And I miss certain things. There's always the snacks. What was that? It's like crack seed.
Crack seed.
Yeah, and
That is my childhood. I swear. Every time I just think about it, like especially lihi moi, my mouth just starts to water.
lihi
just
moi,
saying the word.
margaritas, or gosh, they had all kinds of drinks with lihi moi in it. Those lihi moi margaritas. There was like some Mexican restaurant in Kailua. They had really good margaritas. I did actually approve of that. I never approved of anybody's Mexican food on the island. I'm sorry. They still can't get it right. But and they try to do barbecue. That's not a fair game either. And if you guys are trying to travel to Hawaii, you will not find Mexican food or Texas barbecue. Like just that is not in their it's not in their scope.
Yeah, we just don't have enough we just don't have enough of these chefs that have those skills to come over here and open those restaurants.
I should totally move there and do a barbecue stand. Like I would kill it. Kill it.
Yeah, we have a lot of wonderful flavors in Hawaii, and we actually have quite a lot of restaurants, especially if you go anywhere near Waikiki. There's a lot of famous chefs who have their own restaurants here. We don't have like a lot of the mainland drive-through chain fast food chains, but we do have a lot of small mom and pop little restaurants to really large fancy ones. And there is a culinary blend here in Hawaii that if you come, you just got to try something different. Try everything that you can. Be surprised. Just be open to everything that Hawaii offers. Everything is delicious. I don't think I've really eaten too many things that were terrible.
Well, I think the ramen is like top notch. There's a few ramen restaurants that were like super, super good. And then, there's all the touristy things, but what is that? Curry House in Ala Moana. I mean, it looks
That's
unappealing, but it is a chain, but it's pretty good. And the best poke in the world is found in Hawaii. The best poke in the world is found in Hawaii.
We actually have a few chains that are or restaurants that have come from Japan directly, and stores.
Oh yeah, what's
Don Quixote is a chain store from Japan.
What's the one in Ala Moana? It's like 2 stories. It's very.
I can't remember the name of it.
But I would always go in there and get like quick food or the
Shirakia. That's it.
Yep, Shirakia. Oh my goodness, they're taco balls. They're always famous for those, and there's just so much good food. Now they've made it into this massive food court. The last time I was there, and like they have like huge pitchers of beer and very cheap, and I mean people would just sit there and drink all day, but I don't know what it's like now. But there's so much good food in that little food court area. Not the main food court, but the Shirakia food court is really
just
good.
in the Shirakia one, yeah.
But yeah, I hear a lot of people are moving there because they're all remote now. So they probably are really busy.
Well, I can tell you that our real estate prices are going through the roof.
Again?
Well,
they're always been through the roof. Like, I try
I
to
know,
help,
but when they keep getting
explain it.
higher and higher, it gets more and more difficult. And, local families are tempted to sell their real estate, but unfortunately, they can't necessarily stay in the island if they didn't get enough, because then to turn around and buy something else,
Right.
it's a lot more money.
Well, I mean, their dollar goes further on the mainland. I think I met
It
like
sure would.
a bunch of people from Hawaii and like Washington State. They try not to go to California too much because California is pretty expensive as well. I think they would do better in the Midwest, believe it or not.
The taxes are higher. A lot of Hawaii people move to Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada, Washington, Oregon.
Yeah, I think Vegas though right now is not great. They're not doing well. But you know what I thought was really interesting today was that the governor of Texas is actually considering a date when we're not all going to wear masks. And I was like, huh, really? Because there's only like 5% of Texans are vaccinated at this point. So I don't know how you could put on date on wearing masks. And I actually thought about it. Like in some areas, maybe I will continue to wear a mask even though it's not required.
Mm-hmm.
In just some situations. I mean, in the hospital, kind of makes sense to be walking around with a mask on.
Yeah, for sure.
Even in common areas.
I look forward to more and more people getting vaccinated. I look forward to getting vaccinated. I like this idea of this Johnson & Johnson one when it's only one shot.
Yeah, the follow through and the follow up is really hard. I've heard that they might be considering a third shot because of the variants. And so my parents just finished their second shot and they actually did pretty well. They're not sick. They did not get sick from the shot at all. They were just a little sore. And they're actually considering a third shot. So, because of the variants. And I mean, they're just talking about like how COVID is just going to be like the flu. Like you just have to get a shot like every year. It's just going to be one of those things. But like you said, Johnson & Johnson going down to one shot is so much easier. Get the flu shot and then get your COVID shot. Like boom, boom.
Yep. Yeah. I look forward to that for sure. I'm really happy that it's spring. I can feel it. It's coming.
Yep, it is. It's very muggy outside. It's gross. I'm like, what happened to that cold, crisp weather when you could layer and look real cool in your layers?
Missing the snow already?
I'm missing the cool weather. Like it's supposed to dump rain for the next 7 days in Texas. Well, in Houston. And instead of like cold, it's just going to be rainy and gross. And I mean, I like the idea of cool, crisp air because you're not sweaty. You don't feel gross. And, when you go outside, like you're not going to be like, you can bundle up, but you can't bundle down. That's the thing. Bundle up, but not bundle down because there's only so much you can strip without getting like in trouble. It's hot.
Okay.
Like nobody wants to be hot and uncomfortable. Not all of us can wear like free-flowing maxi dresses all day. We have to wear pants here because of the mosquitoes. Like, come on.
I know. I live in a swimsuit in Pareo all the time.
We know. Don't rub it in.
I don't mind the hot. I will sit in my swimming pool.
Yeah, but if you didn't
have the AC.
If you didn't have that swimming pool, you'd be hot, Mai. You'd be hot.
I know, and I was. That's why I built a swimming pool.
Or you just go to the beach. I mean, you can dump in the ocean. The ocean's pretty cool and all those things.
That's true.
So are there any other
I love going to the beach.
Holidays coming up? I only can think of Lay Day in May.
Well, there's Easter.
Oh, Easter?
In April 4th.
No, I meant special Hawaiian holidays.
I'm going to have to look. But I know that March 3rd is Hinamatsuri Day.
Okay.
Oh, and then you also have Hinamatsuri Dolls, right? So you do your prominent Hinamatsuri doll display.
Okay.
Which are like traditional dolls, usually dressed in kimonos. They have a thing about them that they're supposed to represent like your ideal self.
Oh. Well, I can tell you I'm not
necessarily body size and shape, but more of like the way that the kimonos were on, and they might be holding, a fan, and they represent grace and
gotcha.
Yeah. And being pure and being sweet, which is what I guess.
I'm
is
not sure
the
that was.
imagined perfect woman.
I'm not sure if that was like my girl goals when I was little, is to be the perfect woman. But
I
they
think
are
that was
cute.
the
Those little
goals
dolls are
of
cute.
your older women, your mothers and
Yeah.
grandmothers and aunties
Yeah,
for
I can
every
agree
little
with
girl.
that. I can agree with that.
And I think that's why they put these dolls to like remind you this is what you're growing up to be like, you know, a good
in a kimono.
girl. And dress nice, looking clean.
You know what?
But,
Let's talk about
it's-
clean. I mean, being clean is an interesting concept nowadays. Like, I think I've talked to a couple of people who don't shower every day, and I'm like, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, what's the concept of clean? I think showering is an absolute luxury. I love it. I could just stay in there all day, turn into like a little shriveled up pickle. I don't know, something.
I was in California visiting my aunt a few times in the very cold, close to real winter months. Like it would be like on the edge of fall or, you know, just before spring. Still cold. But I noticed that they would not shower at night. They would only do showers in the morning because it was too cold at night to go into the bathroom and take off your clothes, you know, and then get in the shower.
Or anything?
They did. She wouldn't turn the heater on.
Not even a space heater? I mean, come on, no.
No.
That's cold then. Yeah, I would say.
So
like,
I understand if you're living like that. Yeah, I didn't like to take off my clothes to get. I did it because I can't stand going to my bed.
Yeah.
If I'm dirty, I have to like be fully showered before I will climb into a bed. Yeah. But I noticed that when my daughter was in the mainland, living over there in college, she would only do morning showers, and she said because it was just too cold. And she didn't feel sweaty because it never got hot where she was.
Well, I mean, I guess it's a case by case scenario, but people who don't shower for quite a few days or
a few days is too
do their laundry
too
on the
long.
regular, I think that might be crossing a line, but you know, every so often, you know, if it's too cold or whatnot. But I have never skipped a shower. Like if I had to choose between food and showering, I would choose showering, which is very surprising because most people would be like, "There's no freaking way." But I would, and I did that several times. You know, in the Army, is like people would be like, "Do you want to eat?" And I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go to the shower because I don't want to wait in line for this shower, and I'm gonna enjoy my time in that shower." Whether it's cold water or hot water, I would just brave it and get in there. But no, I'm just really excited that, you know, you have this little holiday coming up, and thanks for letting me know, and I will celebrate with my nieces.
Yeah, you got two beautiful little nieces.
Actually, I have 3.
Oh, 3 now.
Yep.
That's right.
Can't forget about the little one. I picked her up the other day, and she's like a little baby bowling ball. I held her like a bowling ball. My mom had to stop me from tossing her like a bowling ball because it was so much fun. But she is adorable. I love her so much. Actually, don't tell my nieces this, but I actually love the little one more than the other 2 at the moment because the little one actually doesn't talk back. And I pick her up and I carry her with one arm, and it's just so much easier. But my nieces are going to be very tall and taller than I am and probably way cuter because they're already cute. And I'm like, I really don't like this. I don't know how I feel. My brother's like, I'm in trouble because it's just me. And I was like, you better get a boy in here, like ASAP. You need a boy dog.
I think that's what he wants.
You need a boy dog and you need a son because this needs to even out a little bit, just a tad. So it's very good.
They have your nieces right now. They're all Hapa.
Yes, they
so
are.
So in Hawaii
Hapa.
we would say Hapa. Hapa means half. So they're half Chinese and half Haole.
Yep.
And they're just, I love Hapa kids. They just so pretty, so adorable.
Any race, it's just, they just look good. And I'm like, man, you know, I think I harassed my mom the other day and I was like, hey, I could have been taller, you know. She's like, be quiet. And like, you know, throw the towel, whatever. But yeah, Hapa kids are always like, you can tell too. You're just like, gosh, you got the best of both
just
genes.
So beautiful.
Or both, you get the best genes. Yeah, that's cute. But you know, in Hawaii, like a lot of people look at like other people's Instagrams and they're like, man, is everybody like really that good looking? I was like, no, don't you worry about that. No. I mean, everybody, like, I just remember a lot of my friends who were guys there, like they wear flip-flops so much, or slippers so much, that their feet are just gross. And I'm like, guys, come on. Don't be ashy. Don't be ashy. Don't be trashy. Like, put some lotion on.
It's there's salt everywhere, salt in the air, and you can't escape it.
That's true.
You can't escape it. Yeah. So, but it softens your skin. You know, when I leave Hawaii, my skin starts to dry out, and it's like I'm missing the moisture in the air, and I'm missing the salt in the air.
You went there. You had to use that word. You just went there. That word is terrible. Oh my goodness. That is like one of my pet peeves. My brother, stop it. My brother, it makes me so uncomfortable. My brother and I were driving, and he started using that word, and I just looked at him and I was like, I'm about to jump out of this car. Like, stop. And he kept just saying it over and over again because he's been working so hard on helping everybody in Houston and the Katy area recover from our random blizzard. Like, what happened last week?
Yeah.
Like, last week doesn't even feel real to me, and I think we're still recovering from it. But he just kept talking about all of that stuff with the M word, and I was like, bro, like, stop talking about it. But Houston is still recovering. Parts of Texas still, you know, some people without water and some people really struggling out there. And my brother, I've been kind of helping my brother find the people who need help, and he's been out there every night. Like, currently right now, you know, on Aloha Friday, he's out there fixing people's pipes, especially like the older people who don't have, you know, contacts or understand how to use their phone and apps to get people out right away. So we've been kind of hustling a little bit, getting back to it. I was freezing. I got to tell you, like, electricity is a beautiful thing. When our power went out for 10 hours, the house got down to like 40 something, and it is just unreal because I think I had 4 pairs of socks on, 3 different types of pants. Like, I was just freezing the whole time.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think I used my dogs as like little heaters. One friend suggested, like, put your dog down your pants. And I was like, I'm pretty sure my dog doesn't want to be down my pants, but it's a good suggestion. But when I went to sleep, you know, we stayed at the house, and it was just so cold. And there was a lot of people who didn't lose power. They lost their water, but they didn't lose power. We didn't lose water. We lost our power for quite a while. And the pipes did freeze up. I mean, we were at a slow trickle for a while there. And, we had to use a butane stove. We used our propane gas grill out there. And, I mean, I felt bad. I have always prepared myself and my parents for any kind of disaster, and we had way more than enough water and supplies. But the only thing that I will say is my parents were really not great at changing their batteries on their flashlight, so they were doing it in the dark. And I was like, you know, they have cell phones, whatever, they can use the flashlight on a cell phone, but now I was like, okay, you need to go and have one lantern in each room. So I went on Amazon and I bought like everything up. Lanterns, really high-powered flashlights, batteries, and it's all in like one location. So every room has now a lantern that can be lit up. Both of them have headlamps, and then they also have flashlights too. Because,
you know, maybe with your military background and knowing all of this, I know you did a lot of research for emergency preparedness. Maybe we can put a kit together and post it, and, you know, all of those Amazon links, and we'll post it on our website.
Yeah, that's a really great plan. I think a lot of people don't ever prepare, and some people, you know, I talked to some people recently, and they said if it got to the point where it was like so crazy, they wouldn't want to be prepared because they wouldn't want to live through that. And I said, you know, you'd be surprised at how much a human being has the will to live. And I said, everybody has like assets that you would want even if the grid, let's just say the grid went down. There are certain attributes that people have, especially when they're good people, that you want on your team. And so I think it's a wonderful idea to be spreading the love and spreading the knowledge of how to prepare for anything, whether it's weather related. And let's be realistic, like any kind of human versus human sort of disaster or a zombie apocalypse. I mean, if you can prep for a zombie apocalypse, you are prepped for any sort of disaster out there. And I strongly, strongly believe that. We learned a lot. We learned a lot from Blizzard 2021.
Yeah, what came up with, when you said, when you think about passing on your assets, that all came to a head for me when we had that missile crisis scare in Hawaii.
Yeah.
I had to call my daughter in California and I had to say, if this missile comes, if the land still exists, it's yours. I had to kind of tell her like where the titles might be and where all of that documentation is. But if it, and thank goodness some of it's online, so she has access to it. But I should have been more prepared. I should have had a trust set up, which I haven't done. So that's something that I need to do. So I highly recommend, getting yourself a trust. And if you have assets.
Well, I think it's important to just be prepared. What were we talking about? Emergency preparedness?
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I just wanted to, say about emergency preparedness, how important that is. And you learned a lot of things with helping your brother in his construction company. Houston may go through another winter weather situation. This could be annual. How are you talking to these potential clients and saying, hey, you guys might want to not only fix your pipes that have burst probably because of the lack of winterization, but how do you go forward convincing Texans to say, hey, you might want to winterize your house?
Well, what I think is interesting is a couple people that we visited yesterday, young couple, new kids, had no idea that pipes could break. They didn't know that there's like 4 different types of pipes that are used. And galvanized pipe is usually in older houses. It crumbles after a long period of time. Copper pipes, they will burst. And the significant, there's such a significant, obvious burst in some of these. And the best fix is to cut that certain piece out and then put a new piece in and then, put clamps. And another one is Pex Piping, which is more of the plastic pipe that a lot of people use. But there's different types. There's Pex B and there's a Pex A. And Pex A is the best because it actually has Kevlar in it. And it has the ability to expand under pressure and when temperatures drop. So my brother said, one of the things, and now you can't get any of that, right? What was sad was a lot of people who had access to a lot of plumbing supplies and things, they hurried up and bought it so that they could sell it at a premium, whether or not they were part of a plumbing business or not. And that's been happening, a lot of price gouging. And, those are the things that we try to avoid because it is illegal. And, when I was talking to this younger couple yesterday, they really had no idea that this could happen. They were like, no way did we know that the pipes could burst, that it would flood our entire first floor. They had just had brand new carpet put in. They had brand new tile flooring in certain areas. Their ballasts above in the kitchen for their kitchen light, it looks like a coffin light. It had completely flooded and fell through. So, there was so much. And then they were talking about their windows were condensating and all that water condensation fell down into their tile flooring in their kitchen, making it bubble up. There was just a compounding thing on top of it of, how much water can do damage. So the one thing that...
Did that water
it did freeze and then it melted. Because they didn't have electricity in their house, yes.
In
inside.
their house.
Because it was so cold. It was cold enough. But luckily they weren't there, but they were medical professionals. And so they were kind of stuck at the hospitals working. So they didn't actually come home for a couple of days. And then they came home to that. And that would have been a hot mess. All their stuff was ruined. Like everything is ruined, that's on the first
Gosh.
floor. And, I thought it was interesting that what my brother explained to us is that insulation in your ceilings is below the piping. So if you can imagine, it's like drywall.
Okay.
And then, I'm not an expert, but it's like, the ceiling insulation, then your pipes that are open, and they're in an open space.
Yeah.
They are insulated, the pipes,
Okay.
most of the time. They do have insulation, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
have insulation on top of them or around them to keep them warmer.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's like a fur coat, Like you're not just wearing your thermals, you're wearing your fur coat.
Also,
So a lot of
Yeah.
houses wouldn't have that.
so if those
Yes.
burst up there, if they burst up there in
Then
your
it comes
ceiling,
down. Correct.
that water's just going to come
Seeps
down.
through the walls.
Oh,
It
no.
bubbles up your paint. It warps your walls. Your ceiling fans come down. All the wiring is damaged.
Oh, especially drywall.
Yeah.
Drywall's like
And
paper.
so, I learned a lot yesterday about, why Texas houses are not ready for something like this. Like why it's so important. The problem is, if you run your water to keep your pipes kind of free flowing and moving, you take away the water pressure and the water availability for everybody else. And that's why the grid was like completely stressed, right?
Yeah.
Because you turn off the power, the house gets down to 40 something, you turn the power back on. It takes a lot of electricity to get your house back up to like, let's say 68, 70 degrees. I mean, especially if your house is not insulated well. And one of the things my brother said is before the power goes out, crack your attic. So we have an attic. I put a phone book in there so that our heat from the house could go up into the attic where pipes are to keep them warmer. Did it work? Yeah. Like our pipes did not bust, knock on wood, but we did a lot of like tricks and tips that a lot of people don't know. And we had water pretty much the whole time. Now our toilet stopped flushing when it was like 7 degrees, but that's understandable. So you just, get water from the faucet, however slow that is, but you're still running it. So you just collect water and then you use it to flush your toilets. Toilets will still work without running water. You just have to have water to get them to flush. And so, yeah,
you just got to put it in the tank. I feel sorry for the people who have those fancy
Yes.
tankless toilets.
well,
do you
you would
flush
dump
that?
water very quickly into the bowl, and the force would just,
Into the
force
bowl
would go
and
down.
hope.
But and pray,
And
things
hope.
don't come back up. But a lot of people had their sewage come back up because the water pumps at the sewage stations were not working. So a lot of like the sewers were full. And so there's a lot of like compounding issues that came up. We were very fortunate. We were very lucky. And now, my brother was very lucky. Only his internet went out. His water froze for a little bit, but he didn't have like anything burst, and he didn't even lose power. And so he's like, you know what? Because of that,
Wow.
I'm blessed and I'm going to give back. And so that's what we're doing. He's still at a job right now, and he has one more job, and it's already like late in the evening. But we're working it out. I mean, I call people, they're in tears, they're sad. It's been 2 weeks without water, running water in their house. They can't take a shower. Like a lot of people, again, the shower is like really important. Laundry. I mean, even doing laundry is something, having a fresh towel.
Yeah.
A lot of people used all their towels to soak up water that came bursting through their ceilings. Like we have pictures of ceilings like caved in and people's things ruined. So we have a lot of old neighborhoods, a lot of older houses. They're not set up for all this new sort of like crazy weather. So I think there will be opportunities for people to learn, but also to prepare, because we've had hard freezes in Houston, but they happen like every 5 to 10 years. I just personally feel like it's either going to be every year or every other year from now on. And you might as well just do extra, because it doesn't hurt to insulate a pipe.
Yep.
Put on a jacket.
Absolutely.
Go outside. You can always take it off later.
I can absolutely relate to the flooding. In Hawaii years ago when I was a small kid, our house, we had like a major flood, and we had 5 feet of water in our yard.
That's crazy.
Our house
You're not even that
was
much
on,
taller than that, Mai.
You're
like waiting.
I know. I couldn't go outside. My our house was built post and pier. So we were like 2.5 feet off, maybe just 2 feet off the ground. There was a crawl space under our house. And then we had 3 feet at least of water
Crazy.
inside of our house. In fact, it was just over 5 feet because our wall, we had a front wall. These kids came on surfboards, paddled over our wall, knocked on the picture glass, big picture window, and said, "Hey, you guys want to be
Aw.
evacuated?" And I thought that was so cute. But no, my dad was like, "No, we're gonna stay in the house." So I was like, "Okay." So, yeah, I remember my parents putting me on my bed with our cat and dog, and we just kind of, and I was in a flood of water for at least the whole. It was like another
2 days. You slept with like
2 days
water
of water
around
in my
you?
house.
That
And
water was not clean, I bet.
No, it came. Well, I live in an area that's marshland, so it's a protected reserve that was actually supposed to take extra water, but the state or the city and county, who's ever in charge of opening up the floodgate doors for it, it had frozen shut.
Wow.
They didn't maintain it. So they made a promise to the DLNR came in, and the military, I think also, they rebuilt everything so that the neighborhood wouldn't flood again.
You know, this is the second time I've heard like certain government agencies not doing the right thing. That ballistic missile incident snafu was literally because somebody hit the wrong drop-down menu, which is so archaic, by the way. And did you see that picture? Like they had their password like on a Post-it. Like classic mistake. But they had the password right there.
Yeah.
It's so funny. When you look back now, it's funny, but like at the time, it was so scary. I don't even know if I called you.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I think I called my parents on the mainland.
I don't think so. I was on the phone with my daughter in California, just saying our goodbyes.
So weird.
It was a tough day. As soon as I got the text, my parents were still in bed. I literally texted them right away. My son ran over. He's like, "Grandma, Grandpa," and they're like, "Nope.
Yeah,
we're gonna stay right here." They stayed in bed.
I mean, I know your parents. They would do that.
Why get up?
Because like who cares? Like at that point, it says like what 15 minutes. I was like, 15. I just sat on my couch and watched the news. I was like, all right, well. But the funny thing is, nothing ever played on the news. Did you know that? When I was watching the news, nothing. No, like
on the mainland,
local news.
There was
nothing. Nobody. There was no alert system on the TV. Nothing. It just came to our cell phones. Mine actually showed up on my Apple Watch. So I have a picture of my Apple Watch and my phone. And I was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I just watched the news and I just sat there and prayed because I was like, you know what? Did I live a good life? Hell yeah. I'm in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And if this is it, this is it.
And I was surrounded with my family, and I was talking to my daughter.
That's all you can do. I don't even think my mom even had a reaction when I called her. She was just like, okay. Like, that's it. Like, she didn't know how to process what was happening. But we had lived already for a year in fear of some sort of imminent attack. And, like, it wasn't something that was far from all of our minds. Like, this could potentially happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's just a wake-up call. I think every so often, like you said, like the universe will nudge us with some sort of message. And at that point, like, it made me very thankful for what I had, but it was incredibly strange. Yeah, it was just strange. So
yeah, I actually told her, I was like, if something hits, it's probably gonna be a cascade effect. Probably create a tsunami that will wipe out everywhere that's on the Pacific Ocean.
So,
and
we're lucky. We're lucky it didn't happen. We're lucky it didn't happen. We're lucky that, people, embraced the screw up and was like, all right, well, hopefully it doesn't happen again. But, hearing things like, the floodgates were like completely frozen because nobody maintained it. Here, it's like, well, nobody built houses or even thought about fixing up houses to prepare for winterization, like winter weather. I mean, things happen here. It does get cold in Houston, but
Mhm.
not that cold, and definitely not 6 to 8 inches of snow. Like, that's incredible. I literally woke up, recorded it, and I was like, this does not happen in Texas. Like, my hand was like in the snow, and like there were snowmen. I was like, this doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So whatever you believe in climate change, there's something changing. There's something changing. There's got to be something that's changing, because there's no way we would ever in our lifetime have all that mess. So yeah, there you go.
You know, we can just all do something, just a little something to make the planet better. If it's recycling, if it's, you know, trying not to go out and drive your car so often.
I would love to stay home. I would love to not drive. People drive absolutely insane, more so than ever before. And you know what I've noticed? A lot of people are buying new cars. A lot of people have bought new cars that I know of. And on the road, I see maybe 10 to 12 new cars. And I'm like, where is everybody getting all these new cars from? Because there's a car shortage now. And did you know, like, a lot of people are stealing catalytic converters because of the precious metals inside of them to make them? Crazy.
Yes.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But
I know. And I think about like the copper, when the copper goes up in price, which probably happened with all the plumbing that was people buying, is that it causes crime in your grids.
Yeah.
You know, I've seen them. They've done it here. And it's like, yeah, they get electrocuted, but they still try.
I mean, if it gets you a little quick buck, you know, why not? You know, that's how some people feel.
Mm-hmm.
Well, on a lighter note, it's been a crazy week, and I'm so glad that we have Mai Tais at Sunset to talk about anything and everything. And hopefully somebody's learned something out there, you know, from our experiences, flooding, random Texas blizzards, you know, all the things. But I'm excited to celebrate Girls' Day, Boys' Day, Children's Day, all the days.
Yeah. Children's Day, all the days.
Yeah, it's going to be a better week next week. And we'll have another amazing
It definitely will be.
Pau Hana discussion while enjoying our beverages and watching the sunset. So with that, thank you so much for listening. Please check us out at mytaisatsunset.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Patreon for sure. Please support us. We are trying to get out there and strut our stuff as much as possible. And we're also starting to write for Medium. So we'll definitely have to...
Medium. Oh, and then, and look for exclusive content on Patreon. In fact, I would like to just tease a little bit of Patreon things that we're going to be talking about for exclusive content. Is we're going to talk about all of our experiences with all the different neighborhoods around the entire state of Hawaii.
Yeah, that's going to be really fun, because I don't know if I know enough about all of them, but I know enough about my own experiences in every neighborhood. So that'll be just fun to talk about.
Yeah, and if you want, I think the best tip we have is free parking in Waikiki.
Free parking,
which is $25 per hour tip or something.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of tips that we could probably share and tricks. I definitely have a few. So anyway, thank you so much. Happy Aloha Friday, and enjoy your Pau Hana.
Happy Aloha Friday, and until we meet again, ahoy ho.